Hello guys, let's discuss about Azure Service Bus Session. So first we'll try to understand an example when we may need to use session. Then we'll discuss about characteristics or concepts behind using session, and finally we'll discuss when we should not use session. Now let's try to understand an example when we may need to use session. So imagine I have created a playlist in YouTube and the name is Azure Service Bus Tutorial. Now on 1st June 2024 at 10:04:20 am I have renamed it as Azure Service Bus Tutorial for Beginners and consider it's a message one. But after 20 seconds I again renamed it as Azure Service Bus Tutorial for Everybody, that is message 2. And now imagine message 1 gets processed after message 2, then the latest playlist name will be updated incorrectly, right? Now let's talk more about session. So of course by default FIFO or ordering is not supported in Azure Service Bus, and for that we can use session. Now when we create queue or subscription, at that time only we should select this option, that is enable session. And if the session is enabled, okay, then that queue or subscription will accept only messages with session ID. If we try to send messages without session ID, it will throw an exception. That means such queue, it can have messages only with session IDs. Now when we are sending a message to queue or subscription, we should add session ID in that message. So something like below. So here we have simply created this service bus message, okay, then we added this property, that is session ID, and we can provide any value to the session ID, and then simply we sent that message to the queue or subscription. Okay, now consider all the messages with a particular session ID as a subqueue within a queue, and I guess that makes sense, right? Now when receiver receives first message with a specific session ID, it will lock all the messages with that session ID. That means that entire chain of the messages with same session ID, it will be locked. Now technically there is no expiry for a session. So for example, receiver can receive first message today and second message with the same session ID after 1 year as well. Okay, and finally use sessions only if it's absolutely required, as session makes performance low. And I guess it's easy to understand, since a queue, it needs to maintain session ID, that is an additional field, but most importantly it involves locking entire message chain with that specific session ID.